So how did you finally get your new car?
Oh, I waited 3 years, and we were cutting logs one day up in the woods there in Stedmeyer Woods. And it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I had bought an old 1948 Chevy and overhauled it. It was in bad shape. The paint was all bad and everything. I overhauled the motor myself and had a guy in Merrimack in the body shop there. He ground all the old rough cracked paint off her and painted it up. It looked like new, you know. I had $800 in it, and that was a 41, and at that time, in 1941, a brand new deluxe Chevrolet was $810.
Yeah,
So,
can you believe that?
you know what you had to pay. I paid for a car that old 10 years later, and had to paint it all up and overhaul it. And it was in nice shape. And one day I was up and write my name in for a new car, and it was about 3 years later. He came up one day and we was cutting logs up in the Stedmeyer Wood. He was a huff and puff and the snow was knee deep. And he says to me, "Hey George," he says, "I got just what you've been looking for," he says, "for 3 years. He says, I got a 1941 Ford," he says, "deluxe coupe." He says, I got red windshield visors on it and everything. He says, "Just a thing for you, you know." and the thing was supposed to sell for $1,750. And he says, "If you want it, you can have it for $2,150. Otherwise," he says, "I know a dozen people that'll take it right now for that." So he gave me first chance. Well, what the hell could I do? I says to Gus Day, it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we were cutting logs. I says, "I suppose we better go in and buy it, otherwise I'll have to wait another 4 or 5 years for what."
Was that a 4-door?
No, it was a 2-door.
It was a 2-door, I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
$400 more than the list price.
Anyway, Anyway, I went in and I bought it, and he allowed me $850 for that Chevy, and I had to pay wrote a check for the dip.
They took that one off your hands and sold
Yeah.
that.
Anyway, we had agreement, you know, that if they got more than 800 for it, they were supposed to split the difference with me, but
Wasn't that
I never heard nothing from them.
What kind of car was it, Dad?
A Chevrolet 19.
It was a little maroon color.
Chevrolet Coupe,
Kind of a
1948?
Yeah. It was
Wow.
a 4-door.
got that about the time we started going together.
Yeah.
Didn't you? About 1949, was it?
Yeah. I had got it just a few days before.
How did you take your Cadillac, your lift truck? How did you make your lift truck?
Oh, I bought that old, it was an old 1946 Chevrolet truck, and I cut it up, and I bought the mast assembly. It was the thing was just a straight mast up, you know, and a hydraulic cylinder in it. That was meant for the Army. All it was the framework, up and down, and the master cylinder in it, and that was all in cosmoline paper. That's like a tar paper, and in a wooden crate. I seen them advertised in some Army magazine, Army Surplus magazine that we were getting, and I had to go down to Chicago with the truck and pick it up. And anyway, we loaded it up and I brought it home, and I had paid $285, I think, for that. It was, and put it in a pull shed up there, and I hooked up a hydraulic unit to it to start to work it after I got it out. It worked all right. Well, then I had to get an old truck and mounted it on there and put 4 weld forks on it, thing to carry it on the front. And we got it now, I've got it yet.
65 years later,
Yeah,
still running.
yeah, it's,
It was a while there, he had a little work he had to do a few times, didn't you?
Yeah, oh,
Keep it
yeah.
going.
had to do some rebuilding, remodeling on it different times. Can you build something, you always find out afterward you gotta make a change, you know, and this or on that.
Well, you turned it around so it's kind of reversed, the front
Yeah,
was the back.
Yeah,
It's just,
I turned the rear end upside down in it, you know, the differential whole works. Turned it upside down. That way it made me good with all the forward speeds going the forward way, you know.
that's odd, isn't
And
it?
everybody told me it ain't gonna work, you know, that the hydraulic,
You should have got a patent on that.
and all the hoses that were on connected, you know, to turn the switch so to go in and out of lower or high gear, that the engine would suck the grease out, you know, and into the engine. I and once we had an argument for 2 hours one day on that. And I says, well, I says, he was running the other way. I says, the grease is going to be coming up around with the gears, you know, up to the top. I said, if it's going to suck the grease out, it's going to suck it out then too. Well, he said, I don't think so, I don't think so. We argued for a whole damn hour one day on that.
Who was this you argued with?
Florence
Oh,
and I,
Lawrence, his
and
brother.
Floyd Schultz, we were in the shop one day. We was eating dinner. Anyway, I went out and
We met at a dance at the Eagles Hall there.
they always had, every Saturday night they had a Eagles Hall dance. The tavern was down on the first floor and the dance was up on the second floor.
Yeah, they had dances every Saturday night there and drew good crowds, you know.
And you had just gotten your new car.
Yeah.
And what did you think when you saw Betty?
Well, I took her home that night.
No, you didn't the first night. I told you I was with my brother and I just got in with him. It was later, it was in April. We just had our first date, April 4th. We met on New Year's Eve. But we saw each other at the dance a couple times and I was, I thought, why have another car go clear to Laval when we, I was with Walt, remember, my brother, and a group of our family.
What did you think when you saw Dad?
Well, he was quiet. He stood like this and watched everybody dance till about the last dance. Then he asked me to dance.
And what did you think when you saw Mom?
I thought she was all right.
Remember, he had Willis Schultz, you know, he was about 9 or 10 years younger than us. He'd come up there too and dance. We had these circle two-steps and square dances and just plain dancing.
Flying Dutchman, you don't hear that anymore.
Huh?
They used to have the Flying Dutchman. I see them used to dance together.
So kind of crazy. It was nice, the people mixed, you know, or the circle two-step, if you've ever done that or seen it. It just, they go in circles, and wherever you stop, you dance with a partner next to you. So it mixes up the mix.
Dance with a gal right behind you.
And then you dance some more, and then they stop and they get all in the circle and go opposite ways, you know. And then that stop again and you dance with somebody else. That was always kind of interesting. Sometimes you got a good partner and sometimes it wasn't so good. There was an older man that came every Saturday night. He always came alone. His wife played piano for Hal Edwards Orchestra. Did you ever hear of him? He used to play at the Chateau at Devil's Lake. I don't know if that orchestra is still in existence. It was just a few years ago, probably all different players. But he was a good dancer, and he would dance with all the young ladies, anybody he could, you know. We didn't have prepared foods like now, you know. my dad was kind of, you know, he never had a lot of money to spend, so cornflakes was the cheapest cereal you could buy. We had cornflakes on hand, and always oatmeal. We ate a lot of hot oatmeal.
Yeah.
And not a lot of other cereals. There just weren't that many kinds yet. Well, there was the whole wheat, what do they call them, the biscuits?
Shredded wheat.
Shredded wheat, yeah.
Yeah,
They had
puffed wheat.
that. And Dad would buy them once in a while. But my folks,
Did you make your own bread or did you buy
my
bread?
mother baked her own bread, yeah. 7 loaves at a time, every other day. Sometimes 11 loaves. If we were going to have company, she'd have the oven full twice. We have a big old wood stove. Lots of bread baking, mostly white bread, very good. It always smells so good.
Dad, what about your Aunt Bertha and her donuts?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
she used to make them.
she was pretty famous for her donuts over
Yeah.
around Plain, Wisconsin. She was good at
They were
making
deep
them.
fried ones, you
After
know.
she got in the nursing home, she was way up in her 80s. They had a picture in the paper one time of her making donuts, and that was short before she died. She looked old and thinner, she'd lost weight, but that picture was nice. She was right there in her wheelchair working on the donuts. Aunt Bertha was quite a person.
Yeah, she was jolly.
And did you get snack foods?
No, not much snack foods. I can't think what would have been snack food. We made our own popcorn. We raised popcorn. The little baby rice kind was always my folks' favorite. And then we pop it, you know, a big dish pan full and salt and butter it ourselves.
And
And,
you said once Uncle
those
Joe,
evenings in the winter especially.
Uncle Joe would bring you things from Madison?
Sometimes, yeah, he worked in a drugstore. He was a pharmacist, and he would bring little treats when he came, like candy bars and things that we never had, you know. We'd share them around if there wasn't
Cigars.
enough. Huh?
Cigars.
He liked his cigars. He liked the White Owls.
They would just fire on one end and chew on the other end.
He got so he didn't light them much. He'd be working, but he always had one in his mouth, even in the store, you know, kind of working it around. And
Chewing
we
on-
kind
chewing
of
on
liked
it
the
and
smell,
slobbering on
because
it.
Dad didn't smoke at home. And on Sundays, when company comes, they bring him a cigar, then maybe he'd have and the smell was kind of sweet from the cigar. He didn't mind it. It wasn't like now when everybody smoked cigarettes and it, well, blast you out of the room, you know.
And how about ice cream? How often did you have ice cream?
4th of July, when we made our own. And we had cousins that had a 6-quart ice cream maker. And my mother would make a batch of ice cream to mix, and then Ruby, my dad's cousin, would make another. She made the uncooked kind. My mother made the cooked custard and cooled it. My mother's was the best, really. It was so creamy.
Yeah. We used to make a lot of it.
They'd fill it up twice, and there were
2 ice cream
She
freezers.
had about 11 or 12
Two,
kids,
each
my
one was a
dad's
gallon.
cousin, and we had about 8, and my folks, and we'd have ice cream
We used to,
and this.
used to have 2 ice cream freezers. One you had to turn around this way, the other one this way. You know?
Oh,
And
the one they had, I think, quite
we used
this
to-
way. I don't
we
remember.
used to mix up the milk batter, you know, and put it in there, and the fella keep turning and turning, and stuff wouldn't
You'd
freeze.
go by
and
the
stuff
ice
wouldn't freeze.
at the,
You get the
Towel
ice,
place where
break
they-
it up, you know, and put it down in around the
yeah.
wooden keg that the container was in, and we finally found out how to make ice cream without a lot of work.
And they
that
put
was-
salt in to kind of make
yeah.
it break up, and
You
then
break the ice up fine,
it would really get
and
colder
you just
then.
turn it, you know, a couple of times, and you put ice down in and put salt water around it, you know, so you
Yeah, the only time
and
we
just
ever-
let it set, and it just froze itself. we,
Oh.
we often said how dumb we were, turning that and turning it
Yeah, but
for hours, you know.
was it as creamy though as where you mixed it and mixed it that kind of made it nice and fluffy? And
We'd always fight over who would get the inside paddle. You
Well,
know,
there was a lot of
lick
big
it off.
boys in our relatives. They would all take their turns cranking the ice cream, and then when they'd take the paddle out, it was always dripping when the guys would practically fight over who got to lick the paddle.
You lay it on the plate, huh?
That was our sport.
Yeah, those were the times.
And these neighbors, they lived about 3 miles from my folks. They would invite us for 4th of July Day, and they had horses, big farm horses, and they could ride them. They were like just easy going old horses, you know. And they're big
They
girls.
wouldn't gallop, you
Who were a
know.
little bigger than us girls. They would get up on the horse and we'd ride with them. And horse would trot along, you know. We did a horse ride that day, horseback ride. That was kind of fun.
When did you get the player piano, Dad, in your family? Tell us about the player piano.
Well, Bob bought that in Portage in a second-hand store for $25.
Can you believe?
Yeah.
Wow. In the 30s?
But didn't you have to put a little money in it, get it repaired
Yeah,
at first, and then?
that wasn't much. She had somebody come out and do something. I think it was $25
Yeah,
to get it
well,
to work.
$25
It
is
wasn't
like
working.
$100 or more now, you know, that was a lot. But, yeah, we had a pump organ at home when I was a kid. It belonged to my great aunt that lived with us for quite a while. And she brought that with her, and we'd sit and play that. We had to pump it, you know. It was kind of nice, and that's what Paula learned on, my sister. She never took lessons, but she's still playing on keyboard. Goes around, plays at nursing homes and different parties for old people. And she's from Reedsburg, and she still likes to play. She's 77. She's still playing that. She's got probably the top of the line now, nice, I forget what the name of it is, her keyboard. I can't think.
And Dad, your sisters were both musical, right?
Yeah,
And my sister took piano lessons, didn't they?
yeah,
And they played guitar. Did they both play guitar too?
yeah.
Piano, guitar. You grew up,
They were pretty
put
musical.
that aside, never play anymore. It's kind of too bad, isn't it? You know, I guess.
Yeah.
Bernie played for Christmas parties when we'd have big family parties after we were married. Or was it Catherine would sit and play the piano for us at the nursing home when Grandpa was there. We'd all stand around and sing Christmas songs. It's kind of fun.